Dear students, we know very well about some games in India like cricket, volleyball, shuttle badminton, kabaddi. So we are all watching these games in TV and we know very well about some of the rules and regulations in these games. For example, about length of the pitch and width of the pitch and how many members will play cricket in each team and what is LBW and what is catch out. So these are all the rules and regulations in the cricket. So like the cricket, each and every game has its own rules and regulations. So what is the importance of rules and regulations? The rules helps us to define the game very well, and these rules helps us to distinguish one game from another. So as these rules are fundamental to each and every game, these rules are known as the constitutive rules of the game. So in our India, vast communities are there which were living together. So to rule this much vast country, there should be a number of rules and regulations. So the book or a written document which has these rules and regulations is known as the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India. So now we are going to discuss about some of the salient features of the Indian Constitution. Let us see one by one. The first one is federalism. Let us see what is meant by federalism. The term federalism refers to the existence of more than one level of the governments in a country. If we say we have central government at the center, we have central government at the center, and there is a state government in the states. Okay, the existence of more than one level of the governments in a country is said to be federalism. And in our India, there is a third tier of government is there, that is Panchayat Raj. It is also known as local self-government. Local self-government. So, by sitting a few members in Delhi and making laws and taking decisions for this vast country is not enough. Okay, so there should be a local government which make laws or make policies for the rule of their particular people which are living in a particular area or particular state. There should be a state level government, and there is a Panchayat Raj system in India which rule villages and municipalities in India. This is the third tier of the government in our India. Okay, this is about federalism. Then next one, next feature, separation of powers of powers. So this is also an important feature of our Indian Constitution. What is meant by separation of powers? When the power was distributed among two or more bodies of the government, then it does not leads to monarchism, or when the three powers like legislative, executive and judiciary, when these three powers were in the hand of a single organization or a single person, it leads to monarchism or dictatorship in that country. This monarchism or dictatorship leads to abolishment of the fundamental rights. So, to avoid monarchism or dictatorship in the government, in the country, our Indian constitution adopted the law of separation of powers. According to the law of separation of powers, there are three organs in the government. One is legislative, second one is executive, third one is judiciary. What is meant by legislative? The representative of the people. The representatives of the people are collectively known as the legislative. For example, in the center, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha members, and in the state, the members of legislative assembly and legislative council, these are all comes under the legislative. They make the laws upon which the citizens of India are going to be ruled. Next one, executive. The council of ministers is known as the executive. Okay, these are the responsible for the ruling and implementation of the laws and policies made by the legislative body. The executive body is nothing but the council of ministers, and the responsibility of executive body is to implement the laws and policies made by the legislative body. Next, judiciary. The system of courts. The system of courts in our country from top to bottom, from municipal court to Supreme Court. Okay, this is known as the judiciary. Actually, the law of separation of powers, the theory of law of separation of powers was proposed by the French political philosopher Montesquieu. A French political philosopher Montesquieu proposed the theory of law of separation of powers in his book The Spirit of Laws. He written a book, The Spirit of Laws. Who is Montesquieu? A French political philosopher. In this book, he proposed the theory of separation of powers. According to him, the power in the government was distributing among three organs of the government. For example, legislative organ, executive organ, judiciary organ. So, if these three powers will be in the hand of a single person or a single organization, it leads to monarchism. Okay, to avoid this monarchism or dictatorship, okay, the power was separated into three organs or three bodies. Here, legislative body, executive body, and the judiciary. Here, a mechanism is carried out by these three organs to bring the equilibrium in the power in the country. So, if the laws and policies made by the legislative body were against to the basic principles of the constitution, and the judiciary gives a judgment against a legislative body to abolish, to stop these laws. This judiciary make judgment against the laws and policies made by the legislative body when they were not according to the fundamental principles of the Indian Constitution. Okay, then if the actions or activities made by the executive body were not up to the fundamental principles of the constitution, the judiciary gives judgment against the implementations or actions taken by executive body. So like this way, each and every organ put a check and attain the balance. They bring the balance in the country or in the governance. These three organs act in checks and balancing mechanism to bring the equilibrium in the power in the country. Next, third one, parliamentary form of the government. Parliamentary form of the government. So, the Constitution of India guarantees universal adult franchise to each and every citizen who has more than 18 years of age. What is meant by universal adult franchise? According to this, each and every citizen having more than 18 years of age will acquire the right to vote. Okay, the people who got the vote, they elect their representatives for legislative bodies like Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha in central government, for legislative assembly and legislative council in the state. Okay, and these legislative bodies make laws and policies upon which the people are going to be ruled. Next one, fundamental rights. Our Indian Constitution adopted fundamental rights. Okay, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of formation of associations. Okay, these are all comes under fundamental rights. Okay, the Indian Constitution gives protection to the citizens of India. The Constitution of India provides protection against the protection of the fundamental rights of the citizens against the state and other citizens. In political terminology, state means country. The Constitution of India provides protection of the fundamental rights of the citizens against the state and other citizens. Next, secularism. What is meant by secularism? A secular state is nothing but a state in which the state officially does not promote any religion as the state religion. It is the definition for the secularism according to constitution. But in our India, it is the I explained you, I gave the definition according to the political terminology. So, but in our India, what is secularism? Our country gives equal priority to all the religions, giving equal priority to all the religions is the secularism in India. But according to political terminology, secularism means the state means the country or government does not promote any religion as the official religion of the state. But in our country, the government gives equal priority to all the religions. So this is the secularism in our India. Okay, dear students, we discussed about some of the salient features of the Indian Constitution. Let us recollect once again. First one is federalism, next separation of powers, parliamentary form of the government, fundamental rights, secularism. Okay, thank you.